Good morning, student. Today we have a second part of the first chapter, Constitution, Why and How. In the first chapter, we will discuss about the meaning of the Constitution and the need and functions of the Constitution. In this part, we will discuss about the authority of a Constitution. We again take the meaning of a Constitution. Constitution is a compact document that compromise a number of the articles about state and specify how the state is to be constituted and what norms it should be follow. Means the constitution is a document that the number of articles are included in it, and it defines that how a state constituted or use these articles to govern a state or govern a part of a country. But in the some countries where the constitution is written and document both have the together working there, like United Kingdom, in that country constitution does not carry a single document. There are a series of the documents and the decisions of the judiciary these series of the documents and the decisions of the judiciaries are the part of that constitution. The mode of proclamations. In this part, that the constitution, how is come into being, how constitution is made, or who made it, how much authority did they have, who made the constitution. If we talk about the constitution and the made, then we know that it is in the three parts. First, by the military leaders or the autocrats. In those countries, constitution is crafted by a military leader who is neither popular nor the ability to carry the people with them. So in that constitution that are made by the military leaders are not so much popular or so much adopted by the people of that country. If the constitution is made by the constitutional assemblies like in India, then it should run for the long period of a time. In the some countries, constitution is made by the referendum from time to time, and the people have to vote what they have to do. But in India, it's not possible because the constitution is already made by the constitution assembly, and the peoples who are in the constitutional assemblies are too much popular in India. So there is no chances for the referendum. Then in constitution, it should be equal to all. In every country there are the two types of the people. So the one people who have the majority in that, and some other people who are called the minority. In India, if we talk about the religion, then Hindus are always in the majority and the more in number as compared to the other. But some other religions like a Muslim, Sikh, Christian, Buddhists are in the minority. So always a constitution stresses on the equal division of the powers or equal division of its features. If a constitution should one-sided, then the minority lost its face on that constitution. So constitution always puts equal light to the each and every sections of the society without any kind of discrimination on the basis of minority and majority. Freedom, equality and other features should be equal to all, whether they belong to a minority or whether they belong to a majority. Then a balanced constitution. Constitution should be always a balance. Intelligent designing of a constitution is a fact that the constitution runs successfully or not. In the balanced constitution, we discuss the two things. First, the power of, and second, its flexibility. If the constitution divides the equal and by the intelligence, the powers, then it runs successfully in the futures, like in India. In Indian constitution, there are the three parts of a government, three main organs: legislature, executive, and judiciary. All powers are equally divided by the Constitution Committee and the Constitution Assembly. There is also a division of the powers between the state and the centers. And because India adopted a federal system, so there are the two types of governments are there. First is a center government, second is a state government. So powers are equally divided, and powers are too much intelligently divided into these two groups. Then powers should be divided from upper to lower, from center government to lower level government, that is called Panchayati Raj. So powers are equally divided. Each and every section should be get the powers. Powers should not be handed on a monopolistic group. If a group gets the powers only, then there are the more chances that they can misuse that powers. Then constitution should be rigid or a flexible. But Indian constitution is neither rigid nor a flexible. It's a mixture of both. For example, some parts of the constitution are the flexible. You need to change or to amendment in that part. You need just the majority of the total present members. 1/2 part of the total present and the voted members. That is a flexible part. But to change the some parts of the constitution, you need 2/3 majority of the total and the voted person. MLAs or the MPs, 2/3. That is too tough for the government. Then some parts of the constitution is too much rigid. Like you need 2/3 of the majority of the total member, but also the more than half states permission to change that part. So that part is the most rigid. So we can say that Indian constitution is well planned by the Constitutional Assembly. There are the divisions of the power with the legislature, executive and judiciary. Each organ plays a vital role for India's success. And the center and the states perform a vital role to success for the Indian democracies. There is a division of powers from upper to lower section. Then Indian constitution is the mixture of the rigid and the flexible part. Then how was the Indian constitution made? When the Indian constitution was made, then the Constitution Assembly was selected. It was a time when the Indian did not get the independence. That was so Constitutional Assembly was elected from the undivided India. Its first sitting was on the 9th December 1946, and it reassembled due to the partition of India on the 14th August 1947. Its members are indirectly elected. There is two types of election. That first is a direct election, second is a indirect election. In the direct elections, candidates or representatives are elected directly by the people. But in the indirect, our representatives are elected by the person who we elect. So that is indirect. So the members of the Constitutional Assemblies are indirectly elected by the provisional legislative assemblies, and these provisional legislative assemblies are made by the Government of India Act 1935, which gets suggestions which is made on the suggestions of Cabinet Commission. According to the Constitutional Assembly, each province had allotted to seat one member from 10 lakh person, which include the Hindu, Muslim and Sikh. There is a division according to their religion. Hindus select their candidate, Muslims select their own candidate, and Sikh voted for their own candidate. Then, after that, 292 members are elected from the provinces of states. Then, there is also some states that are called the princely states, These states are princely states because these are ruled by the king or the queens, and these king and queens are the too much faithful for the British government. So these princely states elect minimum 93 seats in the Constitution Assembly, and the member who participate in the Constitution Assembly is elected by the consultations, who is always a British person or the person who is too much faithful for the British government. Then the composition of the Constitution Assembly. Due to the partitions, some members get outside of the assemblies, and after that only the 292 members are total. But when the constitution was adopted on the 26th November 1949, then only the 284 members are present at the times of when there is a time to sign the constitution, or before 2 days to adopt the constitution, that is on the 24th January 1950. Only 282 members signed, but after that on the 26th January 1950, Indian constitution was applied. Then in the Constitution Assembly there are the mixture of the each and religion on the religion base, profession base, and or the preferences base. There are the too much persons are there, and lower caste persons are also there. Almost 28 members belong to the scheduled class. So scheduled class also get a representation in the Constitution Assemblies. Only that time the Congress was the major or the dominant parties there. Congress party has a dominant in that time politics. So majority of members belong to the Congress parties. After that, when the first elections in the 1952 was held, then Congress gets 82% seats in that election. Now, how the constitution was discussed in the Constitution Assemblies. There are the too much doubts about the power sharing, federal or the judiciary. Everybody has its own doubt. Some persons want that a center should get some more powers. Some persons are against it. So they want the decentralization of the powers. Some members of the constitutions want India should adopt the federal system. Some others want India should get a unitary system. So whether it's a federal system or not, some want that judiciary must we get the more and more powers because it checks on the working of the legislature and executive. Some other wants that too much powers to the judiciary system stops the working of Indian democracy. So there is the arguments in the favor and against are there. But you look there, the one portions of this tackle is heavy. When there is a talk about the universal suffrage, so you have to know about what is universal suffrage. Universal suffrage is when you are eligible for the voting right to vote, you have to get the vote. When you get the minimum age for the voting, you get the right to vote without any kind of discrimination on the basis of color, caste, religion, education. That is called universal suffrage. So when the Constitution Committee discuss about the universal suffrage, fundamental rights, equality, secular India, then definitely they forget about the power, federal judiciary. So this section overcome the power sharing, the federal and judiciary. This provide them to the think about the India's national constitution. Then the whole constitution become a unit. They feel they are India. They need this constitution. Then they feel so Indian constitution get the frame. Thank you.